Alright, so first thing you're going to do over at PDD, you're going to want you guys to remove the silencer ring from the charger because nobody in the performance industry likes silencer rings. The best way we found to do it is just 2 flat blade screwdrivers. There's a tab on one side. I'm going to try and do this where you can see it. I'll lift it up so I can get the other one in there. And carefully with the 2 screwdrivers, work it up. Once it's out like this, just like on transmission band, you just roll it. Done. And the next thing is that how we're going to end up with this thing. This isn't going to be here, so remove this little elbow and put in a 1/8 inch MPT pipe plug. Right here, just block this off because the way that these things are gated, it does not use a air actuator. If they want to run this as boost reference to their gauge, they can, but we don't use the elbows on these particular units. So we're going to go over how we put these turbo chargers together. If you find your own way to do it that you like better, more power to you. We're just going to show you how we do it. So the first thing we do is we grab center cartridge and some anti-seize high temp and apply it to the ring just a little bit. And a paper towel. And you're going to carefully go all the way around this ring.
When you're done, bring it up closer.
So that's all the way around the ring. You can take your CHRA, set it in the housing. Next thing is I grab the hold downs. Here's the far side, passenger side, and this is the back side. 2 or 4 bolts. Anti-seize both because it's efficient. And we're just going to put on each ring. For the standard location stuff, the next thing we're going to do is just turn this to where we can gain access to these. We've got 2 more bolts and 2 small washers. The washers will not work on industrial style or 45-degree flipped setups, but I like to use them on standard setups. In, anti-seize, thread them in by hand as far as I can go, and then back off a little bit. The next thing, I'm going to grab a 13 mil or a 1/2 inch. One of these is easier to do with a slimmer 1/2 inch than the 13. This one's just a hair shorter, and it works good when working up on the top. 13. I'm just going to go snug until the cartridge won't turn. So, and then back off. Gonna do this to all of them. back off. Back off. Next section, if this is on the center cartridge, take it off. And what we're going to do is use a 45-degree square. If it's an industrial, 90. If it's a standard location, 45. So just use a square. Line the foot up with the square. And then set this against the oil drain. And whatever you square it off of, square the drain to that surface. From here, what I like to do is do a mark on the oil feed side to the turbine housing. I'm going to grab our conch cover, carefully set it on. Throw on a cover if you want, depending on the surface you're working on. And you're going to carefully flip the turbo over. From here you can see where the turbine wheel is in the cartridge. So there's a little bit of room for the turbine housing to move around the cartridge. So what you want to do is find the centermost point. There's our mark. Line those up. Come up here. Sometimes if you don't think the wheel's centered, give it a few spins. When you think you're good, grab your wrench, snug one side up a little bit. Snug the opposite side up. And then spin and just push in 360-degree angle while you kind of spin around. Make sure there's no contact. If you have no contact at this point, you will quickly turn the charger back over, proceed, remove the conch cover, and proceed to tighten up the rest of these. Not really. If you guys want to torque spec it, I can get you the torque spec for this. I've never used one because some spots a crow's foot just doesn't really fit that well. Just pretty tight. I'm not gonna, I won't strip them. It's not with the standard size wrench. And now that they're all tight, you're going to take your snap ring. Now they don't formally fit too well. What we do is you drop one side. You used to be able to put them on over the turbine housing, but since doing the new spring gate mount, you can't do that anymore. Drop that down. Take your cover. Pop your plastic off. Cover back on. And then how the cover goes for a stock location 12 and 24 valve is this surface of the casting needs to be perpendicular to the turbine foot's face. So I'm going to do that over here where I can see. And there's some leeway in that, but that's what you want to do. Just like so. And what I do. We drop the plastic cover back on. We're going to carefully flip it over. And then I put the snap ring opening on this side of the turbo. This is easy for the customer to access if they need to. It's annoying when it's at the top because the feed lines will be in the way. It's annoying at the bottom because the drain's in the way. It's annoying on the other side because the engine's in the way. So we always put it facing the passenger side of the vehicle using some slip joint pliers. If you have snap ring pliers big enough, more power to you. Some big ones, grab the tabs. And I have a modified set of Yono's pliers. If you got big snap ring pliers, squeeze it in. Okay, got it. That pops in carefully. If a hammer and a drift, you're going to seat the snap ring. So as you can see, it's not seated all the way, and this will have a compressor cover leak until you do. So very flat. The charger. And to make sure that ring is seated all the way, it applies enough pressure to the backing plate to the cover to properly seal. Flip it over, make sure everything's good. Nothing's contacting, nothing was damaged during the assembly phase. Now ready to do the spring gate portion. So what I do with my leftover anti-seize is take the gate arm and apply some anti-seize to that surface, helps it slide. And now in your separate hardware kit, you'll have all of the spring gate stuff. So first things, the rod or bolt, a small washer, a retainer, the spring pack. Anti-seize the tip of this.
Stop there. Okay.
Anti-seize the tip of this. Drop it through right on our locking nut. Put the gate on just a little bit. They're going to come all pre-squished. So you're going to grab our snap ring. Probably even pop one by hand. A lot of times I'll use pliers to put them on. We'll pop that guy on.
With the smooth side facing out.
Sharp side facing out. And then we're going to, pretty good right there. They do take quite a bit of force. We will probably preset the thread height for some of these, or at least give you a measurement of what they're averaging out at. But it should be a little bit soft. They're all gonna be firm, but a little bit soft at the very start, and then they should firm up real quick. So from there, bring your lock nut down. Do not over tighten these. Reverse your thread or your wrench here. They don't got to be very tight. Snug. This charger is ready to rock and roll.